Hi there, Cancer. This is Jeffrey. This is Ripecolor. This is your reading for the month of November. Welcome. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, press the bell for notifications. For private readings, as well as IET, which is a healing modality. You can read the description below. It's on my website. There'll be a link. Is a healing modality which helps you to move and manifest energy with the help of the angels. Okay. I'm having a big sale on my website. I also have, it's called Ripecolor because that's the name of my business. I have handmade textiles, silk scarves, silk pocket squares, cotton t-shirts, leather bags, etc. I think there's something else. I don't know. I don't think so. It used to be. I can't remember. Anyway, the sale is everything's at least 20% off. It's ripecolor.com. It's until November 10th. As my regular subscribers know, I just moved to Mexico City. I'm going back to New York 1st through the 9th, so I'm going to extend the sale through the 10th. All right, and my little message is, it's more of a question than a message, which is, I don't usually. How are you taking care of yourself? What can you make your environment more comfortable? How can you make your environment more comfortable? So that can mean the house that you're living in, or the apartment, or whatever, or the situation, right, that you're living in. Let's say you're in, a roommate thing, or, you're living with your family, or whatever. Could also be, is my workplace pleasant? Can I make it more pleasant? Can I hang a picture up? I mean, I'll get there. Because I was thinking, I really want some incense. I really like incense. So, and you can get incense like anywhere here in Copal, which is amazing. I love Copal. And it's pine resin. It's just that Mayans use it. It's amazing. It's like kind of takes you to a place. And how can you make it more comfortable, more homey, right? Because you're Cancer, so you rule the home. How can you make it more homey? What can you do to make it more homey? The other thing it could be is like your home with yourself and your soul. Like, what can you do to make your life more comfortable? Like, get new sheets, buy new towels, buy new dishes, like that. Rearrange the kitchen, make it more like useful, right? It's like that. I think it's emotional though. I mean, I went on about all that stuff, and I think that's very valid, but I think it's emotional. It's like, how can I be more comfortable in my skin? How can I be more comfortable in my body? How can I be more comfortable with the people that are around me, with the people I interact with? How can I make it more feel like home, feel like safe? We start with Judgment. So Judgment is a really positive card. Judgment is really about being reborn. Judgment is about being reborn. It's about hearing the calling. It's about trusting your intuitions. Gabriel's here 101. And it's also, it's really about, like, there's been a lesson learned or an understanding in your body. Like, there's an incorporation with this one. That's what I always get. Like, there's an incorporation of a lesson or an experience. Like, it's totally been incorporated. And so, and through that incorporation, you're reborn, right? That's the way I always feel about Judgment, because it's the second to last card in the deck. So, the whole deck is about like the path of life, right? Like the little chapters, or the little energies that we go through. And so, like, after Judgment comes the World, and the world is like the cycle ended and the new one begins. So Judgment is like the one where the lesson has really been incorporated. It's like a diploma. It's not just a diploma, but it's like you really have the knowledge, It's not a, because sometimes you have the diploma, you don't even know what you learned, right? This is like, I really understand, right? I went through this whole process and I really understand. And now I could use that knowledge that I have in the future. And then we have the Six of Pentacles, which is a really interesting card. So the Six of Pentacles is about perseverance, and it's about giving and receiving. It's about really being in that place of one arm giving and one arm receiving, right? It's really about that. It's about that balance of, I'm generous and and I'm gracious when I receive. It's both. It's not give, 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 and it's not take, 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 take. It's really, having that mutual understanding, because there's a sense of community here, and there's a sense of perseverance. So I think there's also like a sort of a decision, and then we have the Three of Swords, which is not that happy a card. I mean, it could be creative thinking, but I think with this, it feels like, oh my God, I don't know if you can hear the dogs, but it's like, I think they wait for me to do videos, I swear to God. I feel like it's, hmm, it's like you need to make decisions as to what relationships and what energies, like this is about the comfort thing, right? What energies that you want to have that interaction with, have that mutual benefic society thing with. Because I think maybe in the past you haven't, or you're realizing you've incorporated pieces and parts of where it didn't work, right? And you're really getting it. And it's like, what am I going to take forward into the future in a way? Like who's going to come with me in my resurrection? Yeah, and if it's too much work, I'm dropping it. You know, yeah, because I'm in a new place. And it's eclipse season, so this is normal. Obviously, the dogs are really getting off on the eclipse. And this is about, going to a new place. This is about like taking a leap of faith, and really understanding too with this card, like the little doggy. And the good thing about this doggy is that he doesn't bark. The dog is your soul, because dogs represent loyalty. The dog is your soul. Your soul goes on you with you in every incarnation, right? But I feel like there's a new incarnation coming in a way, because it's pure, right? The white rose. And it's like, okay, I'm dropping the burden of the past and I'm dropping the heartache, and I'm looking for something that's more balanced because I've incorporated my lesson, right? Of the things that aren't balanced. And I'm going to plant new seeds in new gardens. So, sometimes this could be, I mean, this could be like a new garden, but it could also be revitalizing, because gardens, they go through phases. It could be revitalizing. It's almost like, okay, maybe there were certain relationships or situations that you had that you really thought were like really lovely flowers, but actually it's like they changed the pH of the soil. I don't know. I'm doing all these gardening because I have like a little garden thing upstairs, so I'm gonna have to learn all that stuff, which I'm kind of excited about. It's almost like I'm tired of this and this flower, and I want to grow new flowers. They're new flowers I want to grow, and I'm going to go out and look for them. It's a little bit like that. But then at the same time, like I'm redoing the garden, but it's like, but that azalea bush is amazing, so I'm keeping it. And that rose bush always blooms and it's a beautiful color, so maybe I'll move it, right? But I'm going to keep it. But there are other ones that you're like, you know what? It only blooms once a year, and it really depends on the soil. It depends on like how much rain. Some years it doesn't bloom. I think I'm going to get rid of it. I want something that flowers all the time. That's my little metaphor. Yeah, towards something new, towards something more hopeful. This is my, that was my first three. That was my second three. So three is creative. Three is about creating something new. And this sometimes is about turning the back on the past and moving forward into a new place, right? And this new hopeful place. It's like, I think that's a better opportunity. And I think I'm going that way. Another three. Wow. This is something subconscious. So this is something subconscious that maybe you've been mulling about, or something that, like, in the back of your head, it's like, my instinct is saying to uh, keep this plant, or to replant this plant, but to get rid of that one, no matter what anyone else says, right? No matter what anyone else says. Lots of mystery here, honey. Lots of mystery. So it's interesting because I feel like this is like a little mini eclipse reading, even though it's just the November reading. And I already did the eclipse reading for everyone. I have no idea who I say to what, to tell you, honestly, because it just sort of comes, and it's like people, some people they get a lot of readings from me. And they're like, "Oh, do you remember?" I'm like, "No, I don't." Like, I'm just reading the cards as they go. And it's like, my business is to, like, deliver the message, but it's not my message, it's your message, right? It's kind of the scarves are the same way. It's like, I'm not making them for me, I'm making them for you, and I don't know, like, I feel like the right scarf goes to the right person, right? Because it's like, sometimes I get this blue energy that I'm supposed to do blue, or I get a yellow energy, or whatever it is, or a stripe energy. And it's like, I imagine who might have it, but I don't really know. But I know I'm making it for someone specific. It's kind of weird. It's almost like, this is really, it's almost like your oversoul is taking care of this. It's almost because Isis is really, the high priestess is Isis, and she really holds the secrets, and she creates out of the dark and the light, but we don't really quite know how she creates. And I feel like there's something much bigger going on here that you might not even be aware of. Like, you're working in the garden and it's telling you to keep the azalea, and you don't know why, right? Or it's telling you to get rid of the lilies and you don't know why. And it's like, do I really need to know why? It's like, my instinct is saying to do this, or to move this part of the garden, or blah, blah, blah. Then I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to do that. All right, I'm going to keep going. Yeah, because I've looked at things really carefully, and a really, because this is sometimes the cameraman. So it's like I'm looking at things from a really practical perspective, in terms of my security, in terms of my time, in terms of my comfort, right? I'm going to go back to that. In terms of my comfort. So sometimes, we have, like, an interaction with certain people, and it's good or it's bad, or it's like, but it's like, I'm not really comfortable. And then sometimes it's like, there are people in our lives, or situations in our lives, and everyone's like, well, why don't you talk to that one? It's like, because they make me feel comfortable. Because I'm comfortable with them, because I like them, because they like me, because it's nurturing, because it's give and take. Oh, I wouldn't talk to that person. It's like, you don't have to talk to that person. It's not your life. you know, Sometimes, I've had friends in the past that, oh, I don't like this kind of flower. There are certain flowers I prefer over others, right? But there's no flower I don't like. You know, I don't like this flower. It's like, really? I just find that really weird. Because, some are prettier than others, you know, and some smell better, and they have better colors, they have an interesting shape. I understand. But say I don't like a flower. What do you mean you don't like a flower? Like crazy. All right, whatever. Went off on a tangent on that one. Yeah. What makes me comfortable? What heals me? What makes me whole? What does my intuition say? who needs to go and who needs to stay. And I have the strength to make the right decision, and I'm being guided by spirit. I have the strength, and I also know when to tame myself. Because, sometimes people just fade out of our lives. It doesn't have to be a whole to-do. And sometimes there are people or situations and something happens. It's like, I don't really need to go into a whole thing about why I don't really jive with you anymore. It's just like we just split apart. And then there are other people, it's like, I want to bring you closer. So that's what's going on. Very interesting. That's November. All right. I think you can sort of see everything. Yeah, there we go. All right. I had the strength and the courage to get over my heartache, to really understand what relationships are balanced. I've heard the calling. I'm dropping the burden. I'm going on a new journey, and I'm planting new seeds, or I'm replanting old seeds that are healing, because I've looked at this in a very careful and practical way, in a very stable way. And the high priestess is leading me toward creating something new that's still in my subconscious. I'm not really quite sure where it is that I'm heading toward, but what I do know is that it's more hopeful, it's more optimistic, there are more opportunities, and I'm willing to go on this new journey. I have to do something about the lighting. It's like you keep on, it's very odd moving into an empty apartment, the last time I moved into an empty apartment was 30 years ago. So because I lived in my apartment for so long, my old apartment. And it's like very odd, because it's like, well, okay, the walls and the floor, and I need furniture. And then, I forget about the lighting, and in the videos, it's like, you need to do something about the lights. So, okay. I have Virgo rising, right? So I really like designing things and making things efficient and meticulous and, practical, useful. And it's just a lot to think about. All right. Blessings to you. Have a lovely, lovely November. And keep the plants that you want to keep. And don't keep the ones that you don't want to keep. Don't kill them. Give them to somebody else. All right. Blessings.